First off, in this video, I'll be going through a few different tips on how to start off the leg pieces for Grand Chariot and going on from there. I started out the armor build for the lower leg portion from the knee down by making a few measurements and cutting out the pattern, as you'll see in just a bit. After doing some research, I came across a few different design styles that varied between the concept character design, the manga, and also the anime styles of Grand Chariot. And after doing a few different sketches, I did a few comparisons on one that would be a little bit more easy for producing on a realistic level with the materials that I have, which is the EVA foam. I got that from Harbor Freight. And one that I have a little bit more streamlined that I had to do a lot of trimming with in order to get the smoother lines. The smoother line one was a little bit more leaning towards the anime style. If you looked at the leg pieces on the Incursio / Grand Chariot fight that they have out in the desert, kind of mountainous region, you'll see that the leg pieces are a lot more smoother. Now, that would be a lot longer process than, say, the more geometric style that we have here, and that's the reason why I kind of went with it. I also liked how the styling was semi-Gundam-ish kind of a feel. I'm a big fan of Gundams, favorite one being Death Scythe Hell. Just want to shoot that out there. Any fans of Gundam Wing? With measuring the pattern, what you have to take into account is what you have to work with the EVA foam being almost a ½ inch to maybe a third of an inch thick. Make your patterns in accordance to that. You don't want to go too precise with your measurements, so you can have a little bit of leeway, and plus you want to take into account when you're heat forming things that you can bend them. And I did variations on the inside leg and the outside of the leg. The reason why I did a slight variation on it is because there's a muscle that is right here on the inside of the leg for the calves that is a little bit bigger than, say, this portion. The main core measurements that you want to take, you want to measure around the lowest portion just above the ankle, and then you want to slowly measure up as the variations in the leg change. I cut it as low as it was because it needs to accommodate to the curve. The reason why I have a slight gap is because of the front shin portion, which is this strip that I have right here. I approximated about 1.5 inches to 1.3 inches. My measurement from the bottom portion to the top of my kneecap. And so that goes around the curve and sits just like that. And the next portion is gonna fit such like that. If you remember, it came around the shin and up the leg like that. So I took a measurement right here and I translated that over to the two-dimensional pattern, and then I started getting the different planes that equate to the leg portion. They're like facets on the diamond. If you can imagine that, hopefully that helps. Once you get all the pieces cut out into EVA foam, it should resemble something along the lines of this, and you should get into the habit of labeling inside as well as outside portions, just in case you have any accidents and knock the pieces over. You won't have to stress over mixing up the different pieces and then things not fitting once it comes time to bond. And I went ahead and cut out a section right here and heat formed it. The next step is to cut out the edging so the pieces line up correctly. So after placing the armor piece around my leg, I realized that it was a little bit too bulky, and so it wasn't allowing it to meet down the center. And so my solution to that was to cut little sections right here vertically up and down the side of the leg in order to cut away different strips like this in order to make it a little bit thinner of a profile on the interior. And this is also to take in consideration when I'm wearing a pant leg, that it might be bunching up in this section right here. And in order to get it to face like this, see how there's a little bit of a different plane? I cut at an angle on the portion that I marked off. It'll fit snugly when I join the pieces together. To get it a little bit even more snug, I'll cut off a section right here at an angle around this side. And I also, as an added feature, I cut a little bit of a groove outside. As I did with this portion, I just cut it out so it'll be able to contour like this around this portion of my leg. And so that's just to have it fit a little bit more ergonomic around the regular curves of the muscles. This extra piece is not allowing it to have a snug and seamless corner. And so just cut it at an angle right there on the insides, and we'll be able to join the pieces a little bit better like that. I'm seriously at the point where I am about to just scrap the whole idea. I've been working on the leg pieces, and this is what I've come up with so far. A couple of things have failed. One being the straps. It wasn't securing right. Things were just not working the way I wanted it to. I sewed it up really quick. It was honestly just a design flaw. You should really have things that are armor based secured in the back. I came up with both the armor pieces right here. This one I cut down the center. I don't know if it's completely a mistake, but this one I kept as is in order to get measurements, because I can't really get accurate measurements while I'm trying to fit the leg piece onto my leg because of limitations of flexibility. Hopefully I'll get this piece onto here, and hopefully I won't burn the place down, because I almost did. My solution was these Velcro straps. Now these Velcro straps are ones that are designed for baby clothing, as we have here. And the reason why I went with that was, one, because it was cheap and it was on discount at Joann's. I actually carried this over from my Happy cosplay. I intend to glue these pieces on with the ends right here and right there. Also secure the pieces right here and also right there. For the portion that's missed right here, what I'll do is I'll cut out a piece of craft foam. So this is a basic idea of how I secure the pieces of EVA foam to myself. To mask up this area right here, I came up with a solution with craft foam. You basically just measure out a section that will cover up the pieces. It's okay if it overlaps a little bit. And then if you look on the back side here, I just had some scrap EVA foam that will be adding a little bit more contact to the end right here. And this will just lay over like that. That way it has a little bit of flexibility when I'm pulling it on and off. So this is the final result of the Mod Podge laid onto the lower leg portions of Grand Chariot. To add a little touch of detail at the bottom portion, I just cut a thin little strip of craft foam and attached that to the base border along the ankle. You can keep up with me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can get updates on future conventions, film projects, as well as new things that I'll be doing around town and also across the country.